becoming panels to attend. We thank you for being here tonight. Today, we have one of the most successful voice actors in the business. He is going to give you the tools you need to know if you are interested in becoming a voice actor. For those of you who are not familiar with this man's work, let's take a look and have a listen.
Riddle me this. Who is Wally Wingert?
I say, Phineas, great day to be doing squat thrusts and lifting our huge triangular iron weights.
Guys, I baked you some lasagna. It's cooling off in the bathroom upstairs.
I was curious to see when you'd shut up on your own. But it's been 3 hours now, Sim. 3 hours!
Welcome to my world, Claw. Ready to talk now? Good work, Sal. Now Biggie's Burgers can start serving regular-sized meals.
Yeah, let's see. He sleeps with an evil nightlight. He sings in the shower. There's a hole in the Lair's defenses below.
Stop.
He's bald!
Yeah, it's, right over that way, by the Indian camp.
I'll need a verbal yes.
Roger that. All jeans on sale. Adults from $19, kids from $10. Old Navy, come on, come on. Are you totally crazy? There's no way I can get serious against a little brat like him. Besides, I have no reason to draw my sword and fight you two.
I overordered, and it's the perfect time to shed a few products at the 20% off sale at H.H. Gregg.
It's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Featuring Ricky Minor and The Tonight Show Band.
Welcome to Far Cry 3 Multiplayer. Carefully designed to take the multiplayer experience to insane and deadly extremes.
Look at them go! Our ever-ready servicemen enjoying a little R&R on the exotic island of Oahu.
I am MODOK. I am the ultimate in-human machine interface. I am designed only for conquest.
You know what time it is. The tantalizing, prophesizing, analyzing all-stars. This is NBA Countdown, baby!
Please, call me Reed.
Take that. Consider this a peer review.
And even now, when I see a red sports car, something inside compels me to follow. I just can't help it.
I'm here to rescue you with Titan Insurance.
If I take this to the DA, you can say goodbye to the most awarded vehicle in its class. New 5 RPM, energizing fruit and relaxing mint flavor, available at Walmart.
For across this vast ocean, men fall as pawns or gain infamy as pirates.
Hello, and thanks for flying U.S. Airways. As we get ready to take off, let's talk about safety.
The problem isn't with the robots, it's just that humans are afraid, that's all.
Of me?
They just don't know you the way I do.
Questions, Dark Knight. It's not you who needs answers here, it's me. You answer my riddles and I tell you where they are. You answer my riddles and they don't die.
Unbelievable. Well, suit yourself, little bunny. I'm out of here.
I am not a bunny. My name is Barnaby.
I am not a bunny. I'm a Barnaby.
I sent it to the microverse. It just wiped out a few molecules.
Why didn't you do that in the first place? Why'd you wait?
I just wanted to see the look on your face.
Please welcome Wally Wingert.
Thank you, Scott Sebring, for putting that together. Well, as you can see by that, voiceover is a vast, wonderful industry. By a show of hands, how many people are aspiring voice actors here today? A goodly amount, okay? Get ready, because we'll be doing a few exercises here in a little bit. The world of voiceover used to cover in the old days simply just cartoons and possibly the promo voice of one of the 3 existing networks, back in the day when there were only 3 networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, or an occasional movie trailer, or some commercials. Voiceover started out because there were actors who wanted work, and sometimes they weren't interested in on-camera work, or maybe they do voiceover work between on-camera jobs, but a lot of on-camera guys in the old days thought that voiceover work was kind of slumming. It's like, oh, I never did. That was kind of beneath them. Now you have every TV actor and movie actor trying to get into the voiceover industry because they realize that it's a lot of fun, it's a good way to make money, but it is, as they find out sometimes painfully, it is a lot of work. Just the other day I was doing a session for a video game, no names, but I will tell you that the casting person said, oh, I hate working with TV actors because they come in and they say, how long am I going to be here again? Well, I have you booked for a full 4-hour session. 4 hours? I shoot for 15 minutes a day, and then I'm in my trailer looking at my iPad. And they said, no, this is really hard work. She also said that one fairly prolific television actor who was on a very prolific, big show, came in, was booked for 4 hours. After 2 hours, spent. Well, we still have, 300 lines to do. We still have 2 more hours to go. You can't move out now. So a lot of the television actors, the TV actors, aren't really used to this kind of work. So it does take, you do have to kind of be a Jedi. You have to be of sound mind, spirit, body, philosophical. You have to be perfect in all these ways because it is sometimes very, very, very grueling. It can be not only physically grueling on your body, but also your voice. And sometimes your voice does, if you don't know what you're doing, will give out after an hour or so. So it's interesting. So we're going to have some questions from our moderator, Mark Fullerton, everybody. And then I'm going to have you join me for some stuff a little later, and then we'll take questions from the audience, and we'll get out of here and go see the masquerade.
Hopefully your voice will hold out for an hour.
What?
Hey, everybody, good night! All right, hey, Wally, if that is your real name.
Sadly, yes.
What are some of the most common misconceptions about the voice acting profession?
Well, the biggest misconception about the voiceover industry is that it's easy. As I mentioned, the TV actors who come in thinking they can wear their robes and their pajamas and their slippers, and they can just come in, read a couple lines, and then they're out the door and they get this huge paycheck. The common misconception is that it is easy work. It is not. It is a very highly specialized industry, a very highly specialized art form, and a lot of the TV actors who are completely unprepared for it find out, as I mentioned, sometimes painfully.
You started in radio and live theater. Well, two-part question, because people love those. You started in radio and live theater. Was that a good training ground to be a voice actor? And what would be your recommendation for those who are not working in radio or live theater to get into voice acting?
Well, when I was 16, I had to be on the radio in the Midwest because that was really the only vehicle for what I wanted to do. To use my voice and be on entertaining people. There was no really other way in Aberdeen, South Dakota to do that other than being a radio DJ. However, in 2016, 15, 14, 13, you guys have something called the interweb or something? Something like that? Yeah. So you basically have your own radio station that you can put stuff on YouTube. You can do your own. It's pretty easy, as I understand, to learn how to animate with a simple animated program. Create your own characters, write your own stuff, voice your own stuff at home on a little like garage band setup or whatever. I wish I'd have had that when I was a kid. My life would have completely been different. But that's the way to do it now. If you're not in radio and you're not doing live theater, is to get on the web, find your own channel, find your own website, find your own space, and get your stuff up there. And get it seen. You just never know who's going to find that stuff and go, oh, this is actually pretty funny. I just ran into at the Invaders In panel earlier a couple of guys who have a new show called The 6 Degrees of Everything. The two guys on the internet that have the big show. Anyway, it starts on True TV coming up. And they're like, hey, you're on our show. These guys started off with some sort of internet show, and True TV says, hey, this is a pretty interesting concept. Why don't we put them on the network? So that's really the way to do it. We'll be starting actually a web series, and I want you to take a postcard from one of my two lovely assistants here later for Wacky Wally's Vintage Toys, which will be coming out because people have seen my house with my incredible collection of nerd stuff and said, well, we need to film this because it's crazy. So look for Wacky Wally's Vintage Toys. We'll give you a postcard a little later, but the internet, it's where it's all at, and that's where you should be exercising your gifts.
Nice job sneaking the plug in. We saw you do a ton of voices up there. Had I not known who you were, I would not know that was all you. As a voice actor, are you expected to know every accent, every dialect, or can you make a living just doing one voice in the voice acting profession?
Yes.
Okay, next question.
Actually, both are true. There are guys who make a really, really great living doing one voice. the great late Don LaFontaine had the one voice, but he worked all the time because that one voice was very much in demand. There are other guys like me who don't particularly have amazing regular voices who have to go into the character realms and create other characters because my regular speaking voice just is really not all that notable. So, but if you sound like this all the time, then you're going to do movie trailers. But so it's amazing to kind of figure that out early on. It's like, well, what am I? Am I the guy who's going to take my one voice? Lorenzo Music comes to mind as well, who was another great voice actor, who was Garfield the Cat. He was Venkman on the Ghostbusters cartoon. He had that kind of voice like this, and it just worked all the time. And now Frank Welker does his Lorenzo Music very well on the Garfield show, and I'm really privileged to be working with Frank. And Frank actually used to sub in for Lorenzo in the old Garfield show when Lorenzo was too busy vacationing or something. So now Frank was the heir apparent to do Garfield, but he's another instance of where you have one voice and you can use that voice for everything. But other guys, you know, like Welker, and other guys Rob Paulson and guys like that can take, you know, their medium range voices and go up, or they can go, you know, really low. So it's just a matter of learning your instrument, figuring out where your gifts are. Do you have the flexibility in your vocal cord and your vocal range to go really high? And do you have the flexibility in your vocal range to go really low and in between? And accents, any accents you can learn and nail. Sometimes the accents should be, you should also, when coming to accents, you should learn the difference between cartoony accents, what's kind of funny, and what's kind of a real one. There was an audition just the other day that said, well, this is a guy with an Italian accent, but it needs to be believable as listened to by a real Italian native. Or there's the Family Guy when I'm playing the cardinal who's, oh, but don't forget your hat! Oh, you leave your hat, you take your robot of the hamper, Paul. Now come on! And so there's that comedic Italian accent. And then there's, of course, the real legitimate one, like a Roberto Benigni or something that really does have a legitimate. So you have to learn both. And of course, there's the Midwestern accent as well, where you can be like, you know, Edie McClure, oh, that's really great, you know, yeah, that's just super, yeah. There's that, or you can just throw that in kind of, you know, like that, and it's a little more subtle. It's not quite so cartoony there, but you know that the guy's definitely from Wisconsin or somewhere. So it's good to have, and anytime, virtually anybody you meet or talk to, hone in on their voice. Turn your brain into a tape recorder and go, oh, that's a really great voice. I gotta remember that.
So if you're, let's say you're in a voice session and the director references the word puking, is he commenting on your performance or just reminiscing about college?
Well, puking, I don't know if they really use the term much anymore, but it was a term back in the old radio days. Because back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, everybody thought it was really cool to talk like this. Hey, everybody, it's Johnny Dark. It's like the morning, it's the morning show. The crazy, wacky morning zoo. 75 degrees for a high this afternoon, down in lower 32 tonight. That's life in South Dakota. Right now, 59. Here's the Bee Gees. That's puking. Because it sounds like you're trying to lock up your lunch. Now, that's not really how guys sound so much on the radio anymore, unless you have Sirius satellite, the 70s channel, which I love, it's retro. But you can use that as a character, where it's like, okay, well, I don't do that so much anymore, but if there's a call for like a commercial that says traditional 70s hit radio announcer, well, you know exactly what they're going for. The Boss Radio, 670, 690 Boss Radio. That's the kind of thing they're going for. So it's a good character to have in your repertoire. So yeah, keep the puker back there in the back of your mind.
Earlier on, you talked about some of those longer voice sessions. Are there certain exercises you can do, a voice actor can do, to get their voice in shape and get some stamina in it so they can go with those longer sessions?
Well, your best friend will be your personal vocal lubricant, which nobody should be without. Water, a lot of water. I carry big bottles of water in my car all the time because when you go to a session, normally they have these little, 2-swallow bottles. It's like, really, seriously, I'm going to go through 3 cases of these unless I get something kind of beefy. So I take in the big, 2-liter Arrowhead things. So that, and also, you can, we'll do some vocal exercises here in a little bit because I want you to feel how your voice feels when you do different things and use different aspects of your voice. Remember, the voice is not just here. Everybody says, oh, the voice is right here. The voice is actually all the way from probably here. They call this the mask in the medical community, the mask, because this is your resonation chamber right here, all the way down to here, and then also your diaphragm feeds it with air and If you can, I had a vocal teacher when I was in junior high that said if you can pant like a dog, you have a really great diaphragm control. So we'll try that a little later too. Remind me. So
I'm still trying to wrap my head around resonation chamber.
Yeah. Well, it's it's why Barbara Streisand doesn't have a nose job. Yeah. No, seriously.
Well, she does not.
No, she doesn't, because it would be silly to do so, because your nasal cavity is your resonation chamber, and the reason she has that amazing voice is because it's a huge echo chamber in there that carries that voice. If she got half that cut off, she'd be like, people. But as it is, she's like, people. Because that's all that resonation chamber. So it's all lungs, it's all diaphragm, it's all basically your voice. So don't just think the voice is right there. It's not. It's part of it, but.
Is there physicality in voice acting? Is it a physical job at times?
If you're doing it right, yeah. I never wear, people think I'm trying to be cute and show off my pecs when I go to sessions, but I'm not. I cut off all the sleeves of my work shirts.
He is ripped though, make no mistake.
Yeah. Not as ripped as I'd like to be. I buy these old junky shirts at Goodwill and cut off the sleeves. And I go in and I have sleeveless shirt on, and they think I'm trying to be all, but no, it's because when you're doing a sword thing, or you're cutting, or slashing, or punching, or fighting, I actually do it because you have to hear that in the body. Because if you just go, it won't sound as good as actually feeling that in you, because you'll be able to hear that in the read, in the final product, that, oh, that guy's really going through some stuff. So it's sometimes can be very, very physical, and sometimes they even just wear shorts and a tank top, and that's it, because I know it's going to be a really physical session. It's going to be actually you break a sweat. I mean, it's very physical.
Actors who are in front of the camera, they often have a costume that may enhance their performance or help them truly flesh out the character.
Yes, a crutch.
In voice acting, is it all you, or is there anything that you can wear, or anything like that, to kind of help you get into the character?
Well, apparently the last thing Marlon Brando ever did was an old lady, a voiceover of an old lady. And they had to go to his house. Am I right, Kathy? Kathy knows this story from Paul. Oh, and by the way, if you want to hear all this stuff from an actual agent, at 3 o'clock tomorrow, Paul Doherty will be doing Mark Evanier's panel. That's another great panel to go to. Where'd Kathy go? Kathy Lizio. Oh yeah, is this the story about did you hear this about the Brando? Yeah. Where? What's that? Oh, hi, Paul! Paul Doherty, everybody! Yeah, super great. Paul, tell me if I'm telling it wrong, but basically he was a method guy and wore the wig and the dress while recording the voiceover job. Now, the most I'll do is probably wear a Riddler t-shirt when I go in to do a Riddler session or something, just to kind of, snazz it up a little bit. But didn't he say, like, after an hour, he's like, can I take off the wig? It's starting to itch. Yeah, exactly right. So sometimes you can do it if you really, really need to. It's a little odd, but voiceover actors, I think, mostly kind of see it up here. But unlike on camera, when you're conscious of how you look and your angle and what you're doing, and are boogers hanging out your nose, or are you drooling because it's going to ruin the shot, you don't care about that in voiceover. You drool, everything, you just let it fly. It's a very freeing, uninhibiting thing. But you have to let your inhibitions down, because you will look kind of goofy from time to time when doing this, but boy, it's going to sound really great.
When it comes to, you do radio, TV, video games, all kinds of formats, do you have to adjust your style for the type of format that you're currently working on?
Most definitely. It's much like doing on-camera stuff when you're used to being a theater actor, and you're both talking very broadly, and you're playing to the back row. Well, when you have that camera like this close in your face, you can't do that. If you just arch an eyebrow too much, it's going to look kind of overplayed, because the camera's right in there. So there is a difference between like really super cartoony voice acting, like, hey Garfield, I have some lasagna for you, you ready to go, Garfield? That's cartoony acting, as opposed to a video game where they want kind of cinematic acting, where it's really drawn in and kind of low and kind of subtle. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Because they'll animate to that and make it seem very, very cinematic. So you have different levels. And the director will tell you at what level they kind of want that. But you'll also, when you read the script and the breakdown and the description, it'll also say in there, we want real, non-cartoony, cinematic type of acting. So you kind of get what it is. So yeah, the director will tell you exactly what they're doing.
Kind of touching back on things like the physicality that we just talked about. Gas Monkey and the car commercials. When doing that, were you in a booth somewhere, or are you on set? How does that all work when you're animated, but your characters interacting with live actors?
Has anybody seen those new Dodge spots with the Gas Monkey? And so it's Richard Rawlings, the car guy, and they go around in a Dodge, pulling guys over for doing stupid stuff in Dodges, like listening to chamber music and wearing yoga pants. And it's pretty funny. So what they wanted was, it all came down through the Family Guy people, where there was one of the producers of Family Guy had punched up some scripts for the Dodge people and said, oh yeah, well I got these two guys, but it was over Christmas and the other guy was out of town, so it kind of fell into my lap. And I'm like, well, I'm in town, I might as well do this. Well, we have a 4-day shoot. Now remember, I'm not used to doing shoots. I'm used to being in this comfy studio. I'm not used to, being out there at the Universal backlot, and they actually wanted, in order to get an honest reaction with Richard, who was the on-camera guy, and the people who animated that, by the way, were the people who animated Ted. The, was that, I'm blanking now. So, Stuart, no, Seth MacFarlane, but the people who animated, the studio that animated it, they did Star Wars. Who did the Tauntauns? No.
That'll be your homework for tonight, people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm blanking on it right now, but they're geniuses. So what they would do is they take this little stick with 2 eyeballs on it, and that was the monkey that they would animate later, in order for Richard to get, eye lock with the monkey that will be cut in later. And then I was sitting off camera with a microphone, going, with a script, and Richard would do his line.
You're under arrest reading a fancy pastry in a charger. Yeah, tell it to the judge, mon chéri.
And then we do about 3,000 takes of that. And it was pretty fun, and it was a very, very long day. But they wanted the voice actor there to interact with, so the lines felt good. As opposed to having a scratch guy show up to just scratch it and maybe not do it kind of how you do it later. And then once they cut it together, then I went back in a booth and lip synced the animation just so they could have a nice, fresh, clean take of it. And some of the spots, they actually did use the original production audio, and some they used some of the new stuff that we cut. But those were really, really fun. But it's like Ted. I think Seth is actually there off camera reading. And when I was doing something with what's a Betty White show that just Hot Cleveland, right? I was a sports announcer, but the sports announcer had to do a line, and then they respond, and then the sports announcer comes in and they respond. It's easier for them just to have the actor show up, sit off camera with a mic, and do the sports announcer and listen to the timing of, Betty White and Dave Foley and Valerie Bertinelli, and listen to them and then come in with the line, hold for laughs, as opposed to pre-recording it and having the audio guy have to put it in and punch it in. So sometimes the actor will be required to be on set, but not on camera. Sailor Hotness. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you're a really long-time voice actor. There's actors like you, like Stephen Bloom, like Tara Strong, who just always seem to be doing role after role. But then there are one-shot voice actors, like Cricket Lang from Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Half the people wouldn't even know. So, is it a stable enough job, or is it something that you kind of have to take a shot in the dark and hope that it takes you as long as you can?
As in everything in life, you have to take a shot in the dark. Not just in voiceover, but everything that you want to do and want to achieve in life, you have to take a shot in the dark. You have to gas up an old station wagon with 110,000 miles on it in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and drive it across the country like an idiot, and move to Los Angeles in 1987, not having any clue what's going to happen, and just have faith in your abilities and faith in whatever your belief system is, and know that this is what I absolutely have to do, otherwise I'm just not going to have a happy life. So some people may do one job and go, no, this is really not for me, or they may take time off for parenthood or childhood or being a mother, or they might find something else that they like much better. So you just believe in yourself. That's basically what it's all about.
I think we're pretty much out of time.